Hello and welcome to Fosh Anime's Spring 2014 Awards, and this is basically covers the entire season because instead of just doing different individual show reviews, I'm just gonna do an award, type of award thing here. Starting with the Best Bro Award, this basically covers like cool main characters, mostly males, in this award in no particular order, just 5 or 6 characters that I found to be really interesting and fun to watch the entire season. Starting with Tanikaze from Knights of Sidonia. Now, this guy just goes through so much stuff in the series. You know, he goes through a lot of emotional stuff. You know, dealing with friends dying, getting close to someone and then them ultimately dying. So it's like a lot of emotional stuff he goes through and physical stuff that I'll go into a little later in a different category. But yeah, he's a cool character. He doesn't really let certain things in the series bother him too much, such as one of the guys who is on a different list, who basically screws over his entire team because he wants some glory, and he sets up Tanikaze as like the bad guy, or he's the one that screwed up and everyone died because of him. So yeah, Tanikaze, he's up there in the list. Toru from Hisagaki no Chaika, and he's up there only because he's a cool character. Just watching him every week interact with Chaika and getting to know her through him is kind of interesting. And his background, he's just a hired mercenary who will do anything just for money, and whatever someone says he would do. But he's a cool character because, yeah, I just like watching him. He's a strong character. He fights, and he's not really, I don't know, I guess he starts changing from being motivated by just money and everything else to wanting to generally help Chaika on her little mission or goal. And yeah, I don't know, I just like watching him every week. He didn't really turn into a overpowered character or a nagging character or anything. He was just, skilled at fighting and very, very helpful. So, Sora from No Game No Life. Now, he's in this list because, generally I think everybody in the anime community kind of likes him as a main character. He's funny, he's smart, he's thoughtful, and he's a little bit perverted, but he's got everything rolled into one, and I kind of like how he can be serious one moment in the middle of a game, and then, batshit crazy minutes later. And, while he is a little bit of a perv, he does have his limits. He won't jump in the bath with the girls, but he sits out there while they're bathing. He doesn't really, jump in there and try to get in there with them, but he does spy on them, and Jibril does take pictures for him. So that is a bit for him, but overall he's just an interesting character and he never gets really annoying or anything. He's just fun to watch. But yeah. Next would be Shiro from Boku wa Mina Kawaiso, and he's on this list because he's not generally awesome, but he's more of a pervert, and he's a bit of an M, and he just likes, that's his thing. He's into like being yelled at, being physically abused, verbally abused, whatever he can get. And it's a bit of a thing with kids. He kind of has a problem with controlling his urges around little kids, and he does get in trouble a few times for that, but they never really go forward to that. He's more of a comical character, and I like that. He does get some development when a little girl kind of visits the house, and he kind of develops a bond with her, not in a perverted way, but more of like like he's trying to teach her things, and not in the perverted light, but more in that she should go for someone her own age and stuff like that. And I don't know, I thought he was a fun character. I just like watching him. Next would be Drugo from Nanana's Buried Treasure. Kind of just like Toru from Chaika. He's a strong character. He is easily motivated by certain characters in the series, even though he's labeled as the villain according to one of the other characters, who I'll mention in the other list later. But yeah, he's basically labeled as the villain, and he's motivated to help Nana discover who murdered her in her story. But we didn't really get much of that in this season. But he was fun to watch because he does take a lot of physical abuse, and he does put up a lot of annoyances in his series. But yeah, he's just fun to watch. Not much to say about him other than that. And last would be Levi from Story Demo, or The World is Still Beautiful, I think that translation is. And yeah, he's just kind of like the other characters on this list. He's interesting to watch, and this character he did get annoying at the beginning, and I kind of did hate him because of what he does and how he acts towards Nikkei. But given what his background is and his trust issues with people, I guess I could see why he acts the way he does. But generally, you get a feel that this character really loves Nikki, and in the beginning he kind of was against it all, and he's like, I don't want that, and you see him slowly grow. I mean, he's just kind of a mean king in the beginning, and slowly Nikki is put in his life, and she pushes him to change his ways, and he realizes that maybe life isn't so bad if people betray you, and stuff like that. And it's just like, gives him a new outlook on life, and that's why I like Levi. He's kind of, you see him grow from, like I said, evil king to somewhat of a decent guy. Next category, Awesome Girl Award, and these are just 6 girls that I thought were fun to watch this season, or just generally interesting. Starting with Mayumi from Boku Mina Koaso. She's kind of this older woman. I guess she's a college student, something like that, and she basically has no luck with men. Every guy she dates either ends up cheating on her, or something else happens to them, or they just doesn't work out, or she's not interested in them. And she basically thinks she would be the audience, kind of shown through her and the other girl. I forgot her name, but both these girls, well, a lot of characters I guess do that, but with Mayumi in particular, she is the audience that doesn't like teen romance, which is just like, high school lovers, like, oh, they love each other, they're not, they're like, they're shy and all this. She's basically screaming at the main characters that, she hates their lovey-dovey lifestyle and the look in their eyes, and it annoys her to no end that it's something that she wants, but she can't have it right now because this is the kind of girl she is. She's not really wanting to be serious with most people, with guys she's with, and Mayumi, she does have a lot of outbursts when the main guy's with the main girl, and she can't stand watching them, and it bothers her, and it's kind of the comical gag of the series with her. But with her, you kind of do feel sorry for her. It's like, but you can have that if you just tried hard enough. But she doesn't want to. And next would be Frederica from Itsugai no Chaika. I know, it'd be like, why didn't you pick Chaika? She's the main. I don't know, Frederica, I guess I like the whole, at the beginning when we first meet her, she's just a tough knight looking character, but they reveal later that it's not her real look, and in fact she's like a little lolly kid who can transform into a dragon whenever she wants, and she's immortal, so she can't die. And there's some moments in the series you're just like, what the fuck happened to her? It's very weird. But yeah, Frederica, I mean, she's just a side character, but she brings, I guess, a little like comical side to her, especially when she's in dragon form. Her big thing is wants to fight, and there's an episode where everybody's fighting and she transforms and gets ready to fight, and he's like, no, because she wants to kill people and she just wants to fight. And he tells her no, and she's kind of like, oh man, not fair. That's what she wants. She wants to fight. And I don't know, I just found her to be fun to watch. Next would be Jibril from No Game No Life. Much like Frederica and Mayumi, Jibril just is a weird character. In the beginning, you see her and she's like, oh well, she's an angel, maybe she's a nice character, but she's really, kind of twisted. She wants to fight, but in No Game No Life world, she can't fight and murder and kill anymore. She has to, kind of seek other things, so she seeks knowledge. That's her thing. And when she's involved with a book or something, when you see in the beginning, she's crazy about books and knowledge. And when Shiro and Sora appear and they give her a new book, she freaks out, and she's a bit of a pervert sometimes. I know that she doesn't really mean to be that way, but through interacting with Sora and Shiro, she is kind of gets pushed in that direction. And I don't know, I just found her to be fun and likable to watch. Even though I know people probably put Steph in the same position, that she was kind of the same as far as comedic character goes. But yeah, Jibril was fun. Next would be Tensai from Nanana's Buried Treasure. And I would say she would be the best main in that series, even though I know Nanana is technically the main. But watching Tensai every week was good because she's the master detective of the series, and she's the rival to Jugo. And she quickly labels him as the villain or her rival, and both of these two characters kind of hit it off pretty well. And I would automatically say that if they were looking for romance in that series, those two would probably be the best pair, just because how they interact with each other. In Tensai, she does solve most of the mysteries, so without her around, they probably would be still stuck in those treasure rooms, trying to figure things out. And I know people would be like, well, it's gimmicky, she's a detective, so obviously she's gonna be the smartest one in the series, and yeah, I mean, she does have a lot of brain power, but physically, she can't do anything without anyone else helping her, so she kind of has to have other people around her to help. And next to be Saki from One Week Friends. Again, the secondary character, I don't know why, but I found her character to be interesting. And she's a bit forgetful, just like the main girl, but Saki kind of brings this, I guess, cute, shy side to this series. When we see her the first time, she's kind of hyperactive, a little energetic, but in her way of doing it, she's kind of slow the way she talks. And even then when she walks around, she's very slow and takes her time with everything. And her character just came out of nowhere, and it's just I was not surprised. I guess I was surprised to see this character pop out of nowhere and just bring something different to the show. And I would say for romance-wise, again, she really hits it off with the secondary character. And I was more interested in their story than the main two, unfortunately. And Saki, I don't know, even when she was upset and crying, you still felt bad for her. So and that's why I felt with her, Saki. And last would be Nikkei from Story Demo, aka World's Still Beautiful. And just like I said with Levi, she is kind of thrown into this world that she's not really familiar with in the beginning. And she's, comes from the countryside, and she knows everybody in her village, and to be thrown into this royalty, but she has to change her complete life. It takes an upside, she flips her life upside down. From going from friendly to people to have to act proper and, like a princess, and she's just not used to that. And she even gets thrown into jail first couple of times she meets Levi, because both of them just can't stand each other. But you see her grow just like Levi, and it's a fun character. When she was strong in the beginning, she still remains strong. She never falls into the category of I need help being saved or anything. She, like I said, remains strong, and I like that with her. And she was just fun to watch every week. Just kind of, crazy things she get pulled into. Next category, the Oh My God, I Hate These Characters award. And this kind of qualifies as like, characters in general, or a cast of characters, which, yeah, there's a couple of casts of characters that I really did not like. And starting with the entire cast of Akama no Riddle. And, yeah, I mean, I like some of the assassins in this show, but the last episode just kind of, catches you off guard, and you did not expect certain characters that supposedly look like they died on screen miraculously, survive. And it's just kind of mind-boggling how the creators allowed that to happen for the final episode. It just almost feels like if they didn't have the final episode, it would have made the series a whole lot better, in my opinion. But I guess they had to show you what really happened to all of them. That was kind of stupid to me, but it is what it is. The only girl I actually liked was Haru, because her voice actor, and that sadly doesn't save the series for me. Yeah. The other one would be every cast character of Blade and Soul. All those girls are very uninteresting, and I didn't care for any of them by the end of the series. This one is a particular character, Norio Katano from Knights of Sidonia. He's the guy that has the long silver hair, and he's, like I said, he's kind of a dick in certain episodes where he sabotages his whole mission to take out this Ghana just because he wants, 10 minutes in the spotlight, because Tanikaze has been getting the spotlight for a long time. He even goes as far as gets jealous over Tanikaze because he has the all-white robot, and he's kind of like, that was supposed to be mine. He just gets mad about that. But yeah, Norio, he doesn't even get out of his funk after that. I mean, after he gets, I think even after Tanikaze exposes him and he realizes, oh, he knows what I did, Tanikaze kind of takes the other road and doesn't really buy into his revenge. He's just like, whatever, you're not worth it, and that's why, the guy gets more praise. But Norio, he's kind of, yeah, he's a jerk. He killed a lot of people because he wanted 5 minutes of glory, and that's just kind of a dick move. Let's see, some of the girls from, well, anyway, all the girls of Date Live Season 2, Yeah, it just didn't do anything for me. But I guess Karumi, yeah, all the girls Day at Live Season 2, minus Karumi, who was always awesome, always great. And Miku, maybe at the end, because I liked her arc, but that's not saying much because all the characters are kind of boring and kind of dull. Next would be some of the girls from Goku or no Brunhilde, besides the pink hair girl. Her name escapes me. I think it's Akari. I think, but yeah, the pink hair girl from that series is good because she's interesting. But the other girls I could care less about. It's kind of harsh to say because I know the situation kind of blows. It's not really their fault because they've been genetically altered, so they have to have these drugs. If they don't have it, they die. And yeah, that sucks. But I still don't really feel any true feelings towards any of those characters in that series because I don't know, I just think it's not that great. And a special mention, I would say, to the writing staff that produced Black Bullet. I don't know what the hell they were smoking or what they decided to do, but they took a interesting premise of the series and kind of wrecked it and drove it into the ground. I don't know why they did that. But yeah, that's the last mention of that for that award. The Most Shocking Moments Award. Now this is just stuff that, stand out and are memorable, or just moments that are just like, wow, like WTF and stuff like that. I would say, starting with the cost of the wishes in Wicross. Now, I won't spoil it because I know people probably still want to watch it, but when you get to the point when you finally they reveal what the wish, the cost of the wish the girls make for the cards, it's pretty much a mind screw. And I wouldn't say it's up there with Madoka levels, but these two do get compared together, and yeah, the cost of the wish in Wicross was just, I didn't see coming. But, I mean, you can kind of slowly build that idea up as you progress through the episodes, and you kind of see where things are going. So, I mean, without spoiling it, you probably know what I'm talking about. Another one would be how much physical abuse Tanikaze takes in episode 1 of Knights of Sidonia. Now, this guy, he breaks his fingers, breaks his arm, I think, falls out of a window, jumps out of a window, of his own doing, gets punched in the face, gets smashed by this train thing, gets his face slammed in by a table, and there's a lot of things he just goes through. The first episode, you're just like, how the hell is this character gonna survive, 11 more episodes? And he does somehow, but yeah, episode 1 just kind of throws you off that Tanikaze takes a bunch of physical abuse. It's pretty funny. I mean, sad at the same time, but yeah. These next two are from the same series, No Game No Life. When Sora and Shiro fought Gibril for the first time in the Shitori game. And that's a game where you say one word, and like the first one they said hydrogen bomb, and the next person has to, I guess, say the next word they say was starting with what letter you ended on. And yeah, in that game, the way they imagined it and with the animation was just it's amazing. Whatever they said actually came to life in front of them. So the hydrogen bomb actually appears above their head and actually explodes. And they go back and forth for like the entire episode to where they're out in space and it's just like there's no air and it's just like they're unraveling the universe itself. It's pretty hilarious and very over the top. Next would be Sora, Shiro, Gibril, and Steph versus Izana. The last half of the series with a shooting game / harem game, I guess, against the War Beast, and that was just awesome because you would think, oh, just shooting targets, that's easy, but the way they kind of allowed the bullets to bounce, and there's a lot of strategy involved in how certain characters, pull off the win in that series, that whole game, and it left you hanging like, wow, that was really awesome. And yeah, Madhouse did a really good job in both those scenes. Another one would be Frederica getting owned by this freaky spider monster, and that just threw me off because Frederica is this cute little blonde, girl, and she's talking to Chaka like, "Hey, what you doing?" And behind her, this creepy ass monster comes out of nowhere, stabs her in the head, and just drags her off. It's just very I don't know, very very absurd and very freaky at the same time. It's just, I did not see that coming, and yeah, left me quite shocked. But yeah, what happens afterwards is fine. I mean, we know what happens here. Have you seen the series? The last one would be the treasure rooms in Nanana's Buried Treasure. And I just loved how each of them were very creative in how they were, I guess, made. And some of them are just like, you know, numbered puzzles, or one's like a bridge game where you can't stay on one platform for too long, or it falls apart. And yeah, there's one that's like a water. You have to like, jump on these, I guess, stone to, without getting hit with water. And that was cool because just the way, like I said, all their treasure rooms are very interesting. Even one that I think has invisible floors, I think. I don't know, that one was fun though. Next category is the Surprise I Tried It award and liked it. It's a category where it's like a genres and series I would not normally try because, you know, the plot or the story kind of sounded kind of generic, or is it a genre I just don't pursue very often. And first would be Baby Steps because it's tennis, it's sports, and I'm not a real big sports anime fan. I see the appeal, you know, underdogs that usually come from nothing, you know, win. That's cool. I mean, I like that. But, you know, a lot of times sports animes, you know, kind of rehashed of that plot line and kind of gets old after a while. But Baby Steps, I don't know why I'm still watching it. It is kind of slow compared to the other sports shows, and yeah, I don't know, something about it just keeps me watching. I guess maybe seeing the main dude try his best. I mean, it is kind of enduring, and it kind of does get you kind of motivated to try your best. Even that's kind of the cheesy thing to say about sports, but yeah. Haikyuu, kind of the same as Baby Steps, but I would say Haikyuu way better than Baby Steps, over by like a million, because Haikyuu has a cast of characters that shows you each of these characters they want something from volleyball, and how each of them kind of come together and form this team. Even Hinata and the other kid, I forgot his name, they don't like each other. They're rivals, and they go to school next year in high school, and they both want to try out the same team. And you take these two rivals, and now they have to become a team, and you totally see them develop this skill between both of them. And you know, at the beginning, like I said, they're rivals, but now they're teammates, and they have to get over that fact. And Hinata, he has a good goal, I guess. He wants to be like his idol, the little giant, which is, I guess, a volleyball player that was really skilled, and he was quite short, just like Hinata. So you have this short kid who wants to do his best in a sport that's usually geared towards people that are very tall. You know, volleyball it doesn't really favor short people very much, because especially because he wants to be a spiker, and he wants to do like that. So he has to try harder than everyone else because he's short. So he has to jump higher and, you know, push himself farther than everyone else. But he doesn't really make that stop, you know, prevent him from doing what he wants to do, and he's gonna achieve his goal. And I like that. So yep, Haikyuu. Next be Sora Demo. Again, the world is still beautiful. I usually stay away from these type of shows because I saw it was kind of like a fantasy setting. Fantasy settings I get bored of those after a while. I don't know why. I just find them to be very kind of generic medieval worlds. But this one, I don't know, something about it. I guess maybe the romance of Levi and Nikki kind of keeps me interested, because, like I said in the beginning, with those two characters, they both have so much dynamic backgrounds. They're both so different in the beginning, and they don't like each other. But slowly they develop this bond. You know, even though they're kind of forced to marry each other, but they seem to be okay with it because both of them get along somewhat. But they do have this back and forth, which kind of makes it interesting and fun just watching them kind of hash it out every once in a while. So yeah. And next piece, Knights of Sidonia. I know it's a mecha, and I usually would go to that just because it's a mecha. But I'll be honest with you, when I first saw the CGI trailer, I was not all that impressed at all. I was kind of like, this is gonna be another arpeggio, which I'll grant that did turn out to be real fun after you got used to it. And with Knights of Sidonia, it's the same thing with me. Once I got past the, you know, the kind of the realistic CGI, I mean, it's not the best CGI. I mean, it does certainly look laughable in some areas, especially the facial expressions when characters kind of leave their mouth hanging open for long periods of time. It kind of pulls you out of that, you know, and it kind of makes you want to laugh more than anything. But yeah, once you get past the CGI and you get into the story, you know, the sci-fi elements, the third gender, the use of photosynthesis, where the characters don't eat real food, they just, you know, absorb the sunlight, and that's how they get their nutrients. And certain characters, make the series really interesting. And even like the deaths. I mean, yeah, I'm not saying the deaths were amazing, but the deaths make you, kind of catches you off guard. Some characters that die, and you weren't expecting it. And they stay, somewhat dead. So that's the other thing. I mean, they're very committed to their character deaths, and they don't really pull out last minute like, oh no, we're not gonna kill, like a Kamino Riddle, which, yeah. And yeah, Nice Sidonia, I like that one. Next would be Estera and Logi no Altier, which is a very, very, very slow anime. If you're not a fan of slow anime, and again, this is a fantasy setting, which uses alchemy to basically solve life's problems. Not in a Fullmetal Alchemist way, if you're thinking that, but sort of similar, but there's no, like, equivalent exchange, there's no price to pay. This is more like lighthearted, fluffy, kind of moe slice to life. Fantasy stuff. And the characters in that are kind of boring, but there's something about it that keeps me watching. I guess maybe seeing the main character, Esther or whatever, go through her journey of exploring dungeons. And they actually do explore some dungeons, so it's got an RPG feel to it. And this is based off an RPG, so I guess that makes sense. And yeah, just like an RPG, you have several characters that join the party and help them out later on. And then an overarching story of, like, I guess this dungeon, this story that the main girl read, and her mom read to her before she died. And it's like, an important thing that Esther needs to see. And she's on her journey to finding that. And I just like that, how determined she is to achieve her goal. Next up, the top 5 worst anime of the season award. No particular order of how I feel, I just think it's, yeah, just how, yeah, I don't know, just think how bad they were. Not first, but no particular order, Dime a Dollar, which is a show that a lot of people probably passed on because it looked really dumb and the mech design was really stupid. I mean, it had like one arm, it's like a gimp arm, it's like very short, and one arm that's freaking massive, basically touches the ground, and bulging eyes of the robot with long dreadlock hair. It just looked really horrible, and it was. I would admit it was. And I did finish watching the whole entire series because it came from the guys that did High School DxD, but those shows are nowhere near the same. DxD's leaps and bounds greater than Dime a Dollar, and that's all I'll say about that. Next would be a Kamino Riddle, which I've said countless times because the last episode kind of ruined the series. You're thinking that certain characters are going to just stay dead, and they don't really stay dead, so it kind of leaves you hanging like, okay, why'd I even watch the series? What they even achieve, which is nothing. How I felt that. Next would be Blade and Soul. Again, this is a terrible series with boring characters that I don't care about any of these characters. If the main girl died, I wouldn't have even shed a tear. In fact, I was kind of rooting for the bad guys half the time to win more than anything. But yeah, this is based off a MMO, and I'm not sure how they got the money or why they got the money to produce such a horrible anime, but they did, and I don't know what the hell they decided to do it for. And next would be Gokuku no Brynhildr, and I don't know why people be like, but it's not that bad. Yeah, it kind of is. The story is not very interesting. I mean, you got these girls that have timers on their heads that they're gonna die if they don't get these pills, and yeah, like I said before, the situation kind of sucks. It's not their fault, but I really didn't find any of the characters to be likable. I mean, I only watched because there are some hilarious moments, and there are some moments that just make me roll my eyes as to like why I even watched it. But I know most people are probably like, well, it wasn't that bad. Yeah, it wasn't that bad, but I just found it to be kind of just boring at times. And last would be Date Alive Season 2. Yeah, most people are like, oh, Date Alive, you know what you're getting into when you see the second season of a first series that wasn't really that good either. Now that I think about it, but yeah, like I said at the beginning, there's a lot of girls in Date Alive. The second half that I just did not like. The twins, they were kind of boring. All they were just two, orange-haired, horny girls that just wanted to get with the main guy. That's all they cared about, is find out who was the best out of the two, and I just found that to be very, very boring. And then you had Miku, who is kind of a copy of Karumi, the yandere, but without the killing intent and murderous side. But Miku, she's an idol, and I liked her song at the very end, but her character wasn't really that dynamic. I mean, she is a fun character to watch, but in the end, she's just not really remarkable in any way. But yeah, and finally the last award, the top 5 best anime of the season award, and kind of I guess 5 to 1. Sorry, number 5 would be Is This the Order of a Rabbit? And yeah, this is a slice of life moe blob show with girls that were on a cafe, or several cafes, and it's very K-On! Minus the music, and well, minus the school setting, because we don't really see them in school very often. We just see them working at the cafes, and just watching. I don't know, it's just fun watching these girls get together, and when they're together, it's just a ball of fun watching how each girl kind of, their personalities kind of rub against each other, and it's fun watching them. Like I said, there's something about that series that just keeps you watching. Maybe it's the cuteness or the vibe of the series, that this is not a series that's gonna be groundbreaking by any means. I mean, there's a show like this every season, and they tend to be hit or miss for most people, and this appeals to a certain crowd that likes cute girls doing cute things, and if you like that, definitely give it a shot. I really liked Kokoa and Chino, and I don't think there's any girl in there I don't really like. I think I like all the girls, in fact, because each of them has a different personality that you just love to watch. And like Kokoa is just hyper, and she just wants Chino to like call her sister and things like that. And then you have the purple-haired girl, which I forgot her name. She's a military otaku, and she likes guns and stuff, and that's her thing. But in the end, she's clearly likes cute things, and like I said, all the characters in that series just make me laugh, make me smile every time I see episodes. Next would be 1 Week Friends, which kind of maybe hit or miss for most people, but it's not. I wouldn't technically call it a romance. I would say the first half is probably going to be, if they do another season, but the first half would be, I guess, more of a friendship. They're building up to this friendship, and while that does get boring after a while, and like I said, Saki and the other guy do make it more interesting for me. 1 Week Friends, has that gimmick of every week her memory resets, and you're thinking, okay, so how are they going to build this relationship if she forgets him every week? And that's through just interaction, basically, and doing things with her. And it also helps that she keeps a journal, or like a diary on what she's done the previous day, and she does, hit off with the main dude very well. And when they're on screen together, you like watching them, but after a while, it does get a little irritating with the main guy won't let her make other friends, and when she does, he gets a little aggravated with it and gets jealous. So in a way, I guess if that turns you off, 1 Week Friends may not be for you. But yeah, I found it to be interesting and fun and entertaining every week. Even though the ending song, every time it kicks in, I do get a little teary-eyed, I'll be honest. It does pull, I don't know why it pulls at my heartstring, but I guess the way they set it up, every ending episode kind of leads into something, sad or shocking, or leaves you hanging. And when the ending kicks in, you're just like, it's very sad sounding, and it sounds like, I don't know, it makes you think that something bad's gonna happen next week. And for me, I just found that to be, I guess it stands out. It's like every time I hear that ending song, I always think something sad or something bad's gonna happen. And next would be Knights of Sidonia, which I've kind of praised a lot on this awards thing so far, as being very sci-fi driven, having great characters, decent animation, especially during the fights, when the mech on mech fights, or mech on I guess the monster, whatever you call them. When those scenes are happening, you just sit there staring at the screen, just watching the action, and by the time you realize the episode's over, and you're like, oh no, I want more. Yeah, and thankfully they did get another season announcement, so I'm happy about that. And yeah, that I like that. It was really good. Sidonia, if you haven't seen it, I recommend it. But if hardcore sci-fi and maybe mecha aren't your thing, then you may want to pass on it. But I don't really consider it, I guess the mechs are there, but I consider it more of like a survival story, which I guess is what you would technically label it as. But yeah. Next would be Wicross, or Wixis, or Cross, whatever you want to pronounce it. This show, very much compared to Madoka, which I don't like that comparison, but you know, it is what it is. People like to compare it to other shows, and that's how people do it. And it's you would think this is a card game. It's gonna be boring. All these cute girls playing cards. It's far from a cute girls playing card game anime. This is more of like a psychological depression, angsty filled anime. Which a lot of these girls that participate in this game, all the main goal is to get, you know, you get a certain amount of wins, you get a wish. But when you find out what the wish is, you know, the payment for that wish, it makes you want to say it's not worth it. It's not even worth playing that game. But I would say it's an endless cycle. Like once you're in it, you kind of can't really get out of it. I suppose you could just quit playing, but you know, then certain things would happen. But yeah, I mean, every episode, just like Sidonia, or not Sidonia, but like in the 1 Week Friends, leaves you hanging with like a cliffhanger, and you're like, what? What's gonna happen? And you just leaves you just kind of surprised and shocked. And I would say shocked was the biggest thing I took from that series. Just every other week, it just leaves you like completely like dead. You're like, what? I don't understand. Like, but you know, they do answer some questions, and I'm happy they did that. And they also got a season 2, or our second half, much like a few other shows in this list. And finally, the #1 anime of my season, I loved, you know, I loved every minute of it, was No Game No Life. And this is probably be on a bunch of people's #1 list because from start to finish, it's a roller coaster ride of like pure fun, and it doesn't take itself too serious, and the characters don't get too serious, and they don't really get too depressing. You know, it is a typical story of a, you know, high schooler sent to another world to save it, while playing games to, you know, achieve a goal. And the goal in this is nothing too heavy. It's not as heavy as the Cross World, but Sora and Shiro, you know, they play these games with a lot of risk, often risking their own lives and risking the entire race of people at one point just for a silly game. And when they win, they get all this kind of praise, but it was just like every other episode. They meet someone, they beat them, and the person they beat joins their group, or you can might as well say joins the harem. Because in the end, it's mostly females that join Sora's team, but they never explore the, oh, this character likes this character. They don't really explore that. Even though Steph is put under the thought that she likes Sora through a game, but that's just Sora, I think, testing the limits of the game. And yeah, like I said, every week they had some fun event going down, or a game, and I guess the way the Madhouse did it with the games being very creative, like the Shiratori game, or the shooting game, or the chess game, you know, or even the beginning with a little card game. It was kind of funny. But yeah, I don't know, I guess every week, like I said, it brought something fun. The soundtrack was great. The colors might blind a few people, like the animation style, but just like Sidonia, you just gotta get used to it, and once you get used to it, you can just dive yourself into the story, and it's very addictive. And I really hope we get another season, because, you know, they kind of ended on a cliffhanger with, you know, the reveal about, you know, the 16 different races equals 16 different pieces, equals a chess match with Tet, the god of that world. And Shiro and Sora have to get those pieces and challenge Tet to a game of chess, like for the ultimate prize to become a god. So yeah, that was a fun series. So anyway, any comments, you know, suggestions next time how I should be doing this, or, you know, maybe ideas to certain categories that I said that you would change, or maybe a show that doesn't deserve to be on a certain list, such as like, you know, worst anime of the season, or terrible characters, or, you know, or maybe a guy or girl you felt that deserved to be on the best bro awesome girl list. But anyway, tell me what your thoughts are in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and see you guys for next season. I'll do this again. See ya.